Greetings and hellos to the Bitwig community and beyond. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the Bitwig Studio's 2 sequencers. Each sequencer can work independently from the other, however, the real power comes from when we use both sequencers together. And having 2 sequencers is extremely powerful because it allows us to take small ideas, turn them into big ideas, and then turn them into full-blown songs. So let's take a look at how all of this works. So what we're looking at in front of us is the arranger panel or arranger timeline. And this is sometimes referred to as the linear timeline or traditional view. And in this view, we see a musical timeline of our song from left to right, from beginning to end. Our tracks are listed vertically on the left-hand side, and we can record MIDI and audio parts into the tracks. We can drag clips and audio samples directly from the browser, the Finder, or the Explorer onto the timeline, and we can edit and arrange our song here. This is where we finish our musical ideas. The arranger timeline is essential because this is where we put our finished song ideas together. The second sequencer is what's known as the clip launcher, and we can think of the clip launcher as a pattern sequencer. And this allows us to take short musical ideas and arrange them together into patterns or scenes, and then we can think of the scenes as sections of our tune. In this sketch right here, I have all of my musical components or clips together on one single scene, and when I hit the scene button, everything fires off simultaneously. So the very cool thing with this is that I can take a scene and I can duplicate it multiple times and then start to think about how I might want the different sections or parts of my tune. So perhaps for the intro, maybe I don't want the drum beat, I don't want the melody, I don't want the strings, I just want the bass and the organ. Then for the second half of the intro, maybe I just want the drum beat coming in, and then we'll have a part where the melody introduces itself, and then we'll have everything come in at the same time. Then maybe we'll think about a breakdown area here where we'll duplicate the scene one more time, and we'll take the drums out of the first one, then we'll take the drums and the bass out of the second one. So very quickly, I've gone ahead and sketched out an arrangement using the clip launcher. And by hitting the record button up here at the top, I can play in my different scenes to create the sections of the tune and record them to the arranger timeline. However, I can use both sequencers side by side with each other and simply drag my sections directly into the arranger timeline, not have to deal with playing things back in real time, so I can move at a faster speed here. And by utilizing both sequencers at the same time, I can take advantage of what the best of each has to offer. So there are certain edits and certain things that I can do along the arranger timeline that are going to be a little bit more difficult to do inside the clip launcher. So for my intro section here, perhaps I don't want the bass line and the organ to play through completely from beginning to end. Maybe I want it to repeat every bar. And maybe I want the drum beat to drop out for a measure at the end. And I might also want to introduce or place couple more sounds into the mixture here. So maybe I want to put a crash at the very beginning. And maybe I want to put a white noise sweep leading into the next section. And now what I can do is use the pen tool to kind of fill in the blanks here, and then highlight all of the clips and do a Command J or right click and say consolidate and make solid pieces. And now I've just used the arranger timeline to construct a more elaborate intro than what the clip launcher allowed me to do. And I'm going to go ahead and erase these pieces now. And now the part where the melody comes in, maybe I want to make this a bigger section as well. So what I might do is I might also want to tease in the melody. So on the arranger timeline, I can do very, very fast editing here where maybe the melody doesn't play all the way through on the first time through. And again, maybe I'll have the drum beat drop out for the last bar. And maybe I want to add a crash into it again. And then I can go ahead and fill in the blanks here with the pen tool, highlight all the parts, and then consolidate everything. And now I've just made a more elaborate section, which I can then drag back to the clip launcher. And as you can see, It's very, very powerful using both of these sequencers at the same time because I can very quickly sketch out the idea with the clip launcher and then elaborate and make more detailed versions to make everything sound a little less blocky and a little bit more exciting and interesting for the arrangement. I can also use the clip launcher to be very creative as far as taking some very small ideas and turning them into much bigger ideas very quickly. So in this final example, I have a number of fast jungle break beats. They run at 170 beats per minute. If you've ever listened to this style of music before, you know that the beats change up very, very quickly. And this is what the beats sound like. I've also gone ahead and used the polygrid to create some bass parts that go along with it. So the idea with this is that I would want to make a new phrase out of these three different parts. And one thing that you probably notice is that as I'm firing off the scenes, all of the clips start from the very beginning. However, if I highlight all of them at the same time, I can go ahead and change the play mode from start to switch it to continue quantized. And what this is going to do is it's going to pretend that all of the beats start at the same place and that it picks up in the right measure when we switch over to another scene. So if I play back the first one and I jump halfway through, it's going to pick up halfway through on the next one. So if I go ahead and I hit record up here at the top, I can play this in and record it to the arranger. And let's just clean this up here. And what I've done now is I've gone ahead and created a much bigger musical phrase out of these three small ideas. And as always, I can consolidate to join them into a new solid piece. And then I can take this new phrase and drag it over here to a new blank scene. And I have a complete phrase made out of the three different short ideas. This is a very powerful, very creative way that otherwise would have taken a bit of editing across the timeline, but thanks to the way that the two sequencers work together, this was a very easy task. So as you've seen, having two sequencers is extremely powerful and really gives us a great deal of flexibility and creativity and speed in putting our music together and taking small ideas and turning them into bigger ideas. And what's even greater is the way that the two sequencers are integrated together into the Bitwig's workflow. So hopefully this video has given you some good food for thought. And until next time, thanks for listening.